Welcome back to One Piece Anime Re-Review Part 32B. This is covering episodes 533 through 542. Basically, 541 is basically how far they got to for Fishman Island. In the case of 542, it's just a team up with Torkio. That's simple what it is. What happens in these episodes? Well, stuff starts to get kind of crazy. Yes. So, after Luffy takes out Shirahoshi out of the castle, he's traveling inside of the shark's stomach for a while and to reach some shoreline. In the Fishman district, in the Fishmen district per se. So, she gets spit out, and of course, well, here's kind of the thing. They mistakenly believe that Luffy kidnapped the princess. He really didn't. He just basically let her out. Yeah, that's all he did was simply just let her out. And he gets angry, so he activates Haki. Yep, activates Haki. Just cuz. And knocks a few of them, doesn't do any harm to him. And then eventually Shirahoshi basically unties him. And of course, while she hurries up, of course, they go straight to where the Sunny is. Yep, in the sea forest. And according to Frankie's new friend, who happens to be the brother of his late master, Tom, this is Den, who is a merman. Yeah, they kind of explained this earlier, like, okay, you look almost nothing like Tom, and yet you're his brother. Yeah, from the same parents. Yeah, they explained this earlier, where if they have a fishman and a mermaid get married, like, the first two kids probably be mermaids, and the other will be fishmen. You can get two of each. Yeah, and of course, Did thinks that Frankie's parents were robots. No, they're not. They were no more humans. They were basically pirates. And he, of course, is very impressed with Frankie's craftsmanship, and he even notes that it's made from the atom wood from the berry tree. Good job. He's a fellow shipwright. And he says, okay, don't worry, I'll take out the coating, no problem. And then, of course, Luffy shows up with Shirahoshi, and this becomes a recurring gag where anybody who sees it gets shocked. Like, yeah, we have Dan's like, oh crap, it's the princess! And then we see J-May come over and he says, hi, Luffy. He's like, oh crap, it's the princess! I thought that was so funny. He's like, what? The princess here. And then we have Nami and Kami show up because, well, they had to get away. And then Kami does anything, oh crap, it's the princess! I thought it was so funny. And luckily off that Chopper, and the thing is, they ran to Chopper and Sanji, though Luffy did, brought him to the Sunny, and Jimmy explains that he should have fight Horty, and basically, explains something. Of course, he has slightly different attire here than he did pre-time skip. Yeah, it's a slightly different look for him. And he pretty much goes, now he mentions that I released Arlong, and that made Sanji angry because of what Arlong did to Nami. Because Arlong ruined her life. And he's like, I see. Of course, he probably didn't mean to do that, but... Of course, a flashback to something that was shown back in the Arlong Park arc when Arlong first arrived at Kokorashi Village. Oddly enough, when it comes to the Arlong Pirates, it's never been revealed exactly what happened to his ship. It's seen in flashback, but it never appears again, surprisingly. Arlong never mentions what happened to it. Did it sink? Did it get destroyed? Who knows? It's just quite weird. It's almost kind of the same thing what happened with Gold Roger's ship. Yeah, it's shown frequently in flashback when you show Gold Roger, and nothing... Now, we do know that in flashback that the Roger Pirates disbanded prior to him being captured because he was dying. But here's the question. What the heck happened to his ship? Yes, that's a really good question. I don't think he would sink his own ship. He probably left it one of his crew. Which one? Don't know. Because whoever was on the crew has been completely unknown. Of course, at this point, aside from Gold Roger and Rayleigh, there was Shanks and Buggy. There were a few people on his crew, but they're not explained until later. But in the case of the Arlong Pirates, yeah, they don't really explain what happened to his ship. As what happened to Fisher Tiger's ship, they do show that here. Yeah, Fisher Tiger, they mentioned him back in Amazon Lily. Now, you get a full glimpse exactly what the guy looked like, because you only saw him in sort of a, not exactly a full image, when you just see him flashback when you hear about Boy Hancock explaining that he liberated her, despite the fact she wasn't a fishman, because he hated the slaves. So, they explained that, well, before, they explained in flashback about 16 years prior to the events of the series, well, present day anyways, where Jinbei was a member of the army. He was 25 at this point. Yeah, he was 25. So, does that mean that Jinbei is 41? I mean, the only thing that really changed about him is his hair color and, of course, his outfit. I mean, his figure, the way he looks, didn't really change very much. I think the only thing that changed about him is his hair is more black now than it was in the flashback. Flashback, I'd say about half his hair was black and the back of his hair was blonde. Oh, and he was also smoking. Yes, it turns out Jinbei was a heavy smoker, a pipe smoker, mind you. Though apparently when he became a pirate, he decided to stop doing that for some reason. I have no idea why. So, basically, Arlong decided to form his own pirate crew because, well, he's a ruffian. And the thing is, both him and Jinbei actually knew each other since they were kids. First, since Jinbei, because he, like, don't ruffian with you. And then Fisher Tiger shows up. Well, he returns after being gone for quite a while. Yeah, they actually explain his voyage was actually more than a big fat lie. Not until later, when he dies. So, basically, he's there at the Rio Kingdom. He speaks to the king. This is, of course, Orihime, the queen, who is basically, from the look of her, she looks like the same size as one of her sons. But, oh my gosh, this woman basically gave birth to 4 kids, one of whom is the size of her husband. Yeah, one thing I think that some viewers might be curious about is that how did Orihime and Neptune first meet? Yes, because it seemed that Orihime was a very lovely woman. Of course, who explains there was some tragedy involving her, but of course that's not here. She, of course, is trying, and then, of course, Fisher Tiger explains, oh, yeah, I'm going to break the Mary Jo, and I'm going to basically free all the slaves. And he tells them ahead of time, so basically, he would take the blame for it, so they won't. That's why I think it might cause some trouble, but he'll take the full blame for it. So, then they have a flashback where he attacked, well, Mary Jo, Marie Jo. Yeah, and Jinbei, of course, basically hears this from a local. He's like, what? And then he goes and resigns his commission. And then we see the formation of the Sun Pirates. Though the Arlong Pirates do join him as well. And anybody who was a slave, who had the Celestial Dragon mark, got a special brand, the Sun mark, covering it up. And they're, of course, hounded by the Navy and various other people. They meet one Navy ship, it's like, give us back the slaves. And Fisher Tiger's like, what slaves? Do you see any slaves? Feel free to examine us if you want to. We're not slaves. Yeah, and he does chastise Arlong for killing some humans. But, of course, apparently Jinbei got chastised for it, too, because he insulted him. Though, apparently, not only Fisher Tiger got himself penalty, but Jinbei did, too. And this lasted for a good period of time. Maybe they're just doing fine. And then they were requested to transport a little girl who was one of the people that Fisher Tiger freed. Her name is Keela. And pretty much we have it where she, of course, she gets smacked by Arlong, but she, of course, still acts like a way she was a slave. But Fisher Tiger's like, take it to my room. No, he does not do anything sexual to this little girl. What does he do? Pulls the back of her shirt because she has the Celestial Dragon mark, and then puts the mark of the Sun Pirates on her back. Though she's basically treated right afterwards. And then he's like, we're not going to kill anymore. And he, of course, takes his pistol and tosses it wherever he drops her swords. And everyone's like, everything all fine. And, of course, Jinbei shows off his mark, which actually is on his chest. Yeah, here's the strange thing about the Sun Pirates. That some of them basically have their arms, their back. As far as I can tell for Jinbei, he's one of 2 that I saw who actually had it on their chest. The other, of course, being Fisher Tiger. In the case of someone like Hatchin, he had his on his forehead. Some basically at various other places. Like some have their arms, some on their back. Yeah, but that's it for flashback stuff. And of course, Luffy is of course just motionless. This whole thing. I will get to exactly what he's thinking about, what he was doing during all this. And then before we have another thing with flashback, we have another team with Torkio. Yes, things starts out with basically Torkio and Komatsu just fishing for higher sharks. They catch one and they knock it out, and then we see bump, bump, and then we hear Gum Gum Rocket. Yep, it's Luffy. Yep, Luffy reunites him. He's like, I have a favor to ask you. And then all of a sudden, the sun comes out completely out of nowhere. Yeah, probably did a coup de burst off screen. And the favor, they need help from Torkio to find a seafood fruit for Chopper, who's come down with a deep sea fever. He's all blue. Well, he's basically got blue spots. So they just go to an island of medicine. So they're there to beat up some creatures. They come across some kung fu birds, which are similar to the kung fu dungos from Alabasta, of course. One or two times they mention that in a filler, something fillerish. The other, of course, being an arc that happens, believe it or not, after Punk Hazard. Yep. So Luke beats him up and says, "Oh yeah, they're not his master." Did he teach him anything? Not really. No, they just show him to the nest, and they have some food, and of course they go out and search for the thing, search for the sea fruit, and they do find it in this big grove, this facility that they saw when they first got to the island. And they are fighting sort of a mangrove. Yeah, it's this creature that's kind of like a hydra, which has the fruit on it. Though, at one point, Robin's taken captive by the damn thing. Luffy's briefly taken captive, but thanks to Torkio, he's a free Luffy, and Luffy's able to save Robin. With Robin helping him a little bit, of course, he carries Robin. Of course, he's smiling when he's doing it, too. Because, of course, he's happy to see his friend. Of course, he's like, okay, yep. And then, of course, Luffy and Torkio combine to form a special move where they chop the tree in half and pick up the fruit. They get the chopper and better for a little bit, and then he turns red. Yep, that leads to part 2, which has the cast of Torkio show up. Mostly just Sunny, Coco, and Ren along with Kiss, Coco's pet bird. Yeah, that's the strange thing when it comes to 4 Heavenly Kings, that all of them got their own pets, except for Zebra, who actually makes an appearance here. Yeah, he's in jail. They mentioned, oh yeah, they're part of the 4 Heavenly Kings. So we look for this mushroom rock, and like they basically just find it, and Torkio just punches the thing with his Ginga punch. Then goes up, and of course they go inside. First floor, summer floor, and Brooke comes up with a really interesting idea, so they can go through quickly. Split up into teams, and Ren's like, good idea. That I agree to that. So first floor for the summer floor, just Brooke, Robin. I think it's like Brooke, Robin, Zoro, Usopp, and I think it's Coco. Yeah, Coco. I'm like, okay, interesting. And then they go to the autumn floor, and then the group basically saying that floor about the creatures there is just Sanji, Sunny, Ren, and Frankie. And then we have the winter floor where it's just Luffy, Toriko, and Tamatsu. Now, of course, well, Usopp does all the work on the summer floor. He gets chased by this Tamatsu tiger, but it looks like dripping in barbecue sauce. And he chases him on a tree where it melts, and they capture the first one. In the case of what happened with the case of Sunny, the group on the autumn floor, they want to pick this special fruit, and of course, he thinks this is like a unicorn with like one of 4. He thinks like a 8-horn unicorn. Nope, turns out to be a giant boar. And Sunny's like so disappointed. And they all end up finding it pretty well, and then of course Sunny knocks it out. Ren retrieves the star, and of course we have Toriko, Luffy, and Komatsu taking on a drunk orangutan. Though it turns out he's not after his sake, but actually after his leaf. They find that the flower they're looking for has the special ingredient. But like, oh crap, we need a sun. But luckily we have the hungry sharks show up, and well they melt the flower, the blossom, retrieve it, and of course Komatsu cooks all the ingredients together. Chopper eats it, and everybody's like all better. And of course, let's see each other again soon, next season. And of course, Sunny, of course, is obsessed with the Sunny ship. He thinks Sunny is a person, and then of course everyone's all waving goodbye, and he of course says, "Bye, Sunny," and they're like, "Who are you talking to?" And that's how the thing ends. Yeah, quite hilarious team up, but the thing is, during the first half of the team up, where you have Komatsu, Torkio on the island with Luffy, Robin, Zoro, Nami, and Chopper. Basically, most of the Straw Hats, minus, and the only thing on the ship were Frankie, Brooke. Yeah, it was Frankie, Brooke, Sanji, and Usopp. Yeah, just basically by half the crew. Which is interesting to say at least. At least Zoro got a chance to do something, along with Robin. But in the case of Sanji, he did nothing this time. If you want to think of one character who's almost nothing this whole episode, it's Brooke. He doesn't take out his sword at all, which is kind of weird. At least in the case of the Torkio cast, at least they do something. They're at least not standing around doing nothing. Well, basically Coco does participate in one fight, but that's it. Yeah. But yeah, not much else to say about these episodes. They're really good. Now, Robin, in case of what she's up to during the present day stuff, she's off basically finding a poneglyph. As in the case of Usopp, Zoro, and Brooke, they're running away from the palace. Of course, Zoro had already sliced up Horty Jones. And well, that's pretty much it that I can think of. Yeah. So until stay tuned for this one for C, where I'm covering episodes 543 through 555. Yep, that's as far as actually 554 was the next one. Though I might basically go a little further with that one, but it depends. Yeah, so that's episode going to be. The next video is going to be basically be a comic corner. 2 digital trades, okay? Do this next video. Bye.